We're back, everybody. It's College COD. We got match number 3 for the night. High Point Esports going up against James Madison Esports. This is looking like it's going to be a good one. Corner, we get 2 teams inside of our top 25 power rankings from today. High Point sitting at 24. James Madison sitting at 19. It's opting to be a good one.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch this High Point team last week, so I got to see some good, some bad, and of course the unfortunate loss that they had against Mox COD on the actual live stream. So that was fun seeing them. I have big aspirations for this Panthers team, and I do really truly think that they can be a powerhouse team come the end of the year. It's just going to take a few little improvements, and I think this is a big kind of prove it match against JMU to really justify not only their placement inside of the top 25, but maybe take that next step even further into the higher ranking.
Yeah, I mean, they've so far looked good, but we're going to talk about them a little bit later. Let's look at this High Point roster first, because I'm right alongside you with this. When I was watching that stream, I was listening to your beautiful voice cast over these players. I was impressed with what I saw. I mean, Sexton, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's always just a sight to behold inside of College COD. But Sebi, I mean, Sebi was incredible. I mean, he was nasty last week against Mox COD.
Yeah, I put a lot of stock in Sebi last week, and for good reason. He has been playing out of his mind so far in this young season, and I hope that continues to be the case for this High Point University roster. A lot of the College COD talk the last few years has been like, oh, Sexton's that guy when you look at HPU, and now, like, yeah, you still have Devilish on this roster from last year, but Sebi being that guy early on this year,
yeah,
he's fun to watch, man. Really fun to watch.
I like that you say that too, because we've always say that Sexton is that guy, but when you look at past seasons, even last season recently, only a top 64 playoff group elimination, so like they didn't make it that far into the playoffs. So even though we talk about this player, we boost his stocks, we haven't seen success from High Point when it does come to the later portions of the year. So maybe just maybe this is their chance to show up with this brand new freshman player who looks absolutely nuts and change that going into the 2023 season. But their opponents today, James Madison, has been, a different story, because last year, they go 7-11 in the regular season, a top 192 finish, across the LCQ. They get eliminated, and a big turnaround this year, though. I mean, a 3-0 start to their 2023 season. I mean, you look at their starting roster: Prey, Kelp, T-Web, and Poker, and this might be the year that James Madison really turns some heads.
Yeah, and they're also in the same division as our previous matchup of Alabama and Newberry, which goes to bode the question of, like, okay, how good is JMU truly? And the same teams that they have already played against, even the teams that we just saw play on stream, they've also had matches against them where they have come out and dominated them, maybe some close games against, say, like Newberry, but regardless of that fact, they still have looked really good in those games. And there's a reason they're at the top of the division right now. Sure, they're going to need to play up against the likes of Fishers later on in the year. They're gonna have some important matches that are going to be coming up against, say, your Farmingdales, or excuse me, your Mox and whatnot as well. So, like, yes and no, like, things could go your way potentially, but right now you're sitting pretty, and a win against High Point would do wonders for your season. Because again, like, as much as we kind of leaned into the fact of, like, High Point could take this and really stick it to their opponents to get higher up in those rankings, if you beat another ranked opponent, regardless of how far up or down in the standings you are, you're gonna be revered as a little bit better than you might have been even in the previous week.
I mean, you're totally right for that one. We don't have much, comparisons between these two when we look at the head-to-head, but, even still, two dominant, are very successful week number ones from both sides. One a little bit more dominant than the other. Just look at that JMU record. You got a 4-1 in the hard point, 4-0 in the search and destroy, 1-2 in the control. So maybe it's like not your best game mode, but you look across the board at High Points records and you're even on that control records. That makes you feel a little bit more comfortable if you're JMU going into this one. Not to mention, one of those search and destroy wins, or both of them, or two of them, were against Newberry, one of them being in a round 11 fashion. So, they've been put to the test in that mode.
They absolutely have. And again, like, we can look at the control record all we want to, but I think the glaring thing that we, of course, have to say, the elephant in the room, that 0-4 record for High Point, that is a ridiculous stat line. And it's kind of incredible to me that they're even 2-2 at this point with that stat line. But again, like, that's one of those modes where, like, again, I said, like, If they can figure that out, they are a good team. Like, their hard points are good. Their controls lackluster at times, but they play them close even when they lose them. And if you figure out your search and destroys, which admittedly they have been piss poor in, if you figure those out, cool, you're going on the right direction, and you can be a team at the end of the year that comes back. But like, again, like 4-0 for JMU. Yes, they've only played 3 technical teams. This is again inside of the division with Concord that did forfeit the majority of their games this year, so that is going to be why they again have another win in their column, opposed to some of the other teams in different divisions that haven't played all of their matches just yet. But regardless, let's take a look at the map set here for our best of 5 series. You know, starting things out with our nice, beautiful hard point. We're going to be stepping onto Embassy like we did in our first series of the day. Hotel for the search. El Asilo Control will be rounding out our 3. And if you look at the top there, of course, as we've seen every series, we have those bans. And there's no wonder that High Point won a ban Fortress out for the S&D and the Control. They were horrid on that map.
Yeah.
In the series played against Mox.
Neither team wants to see Fortress. JMU, they don't want to go there for the hard point. Maybe they looked at the series they just saw and they said, okay, you know, maybe we're not going to run it as good as Newberry just did. But we got that Embassy for map number 1. I mean, you really broke it down when you're looking at kind of win conditions for both sides. I think for High Point, the respawns are definitely where you're looking at this team to find their most success. So early control for them into the hill. They get 11 seconds, but you look at player number 8, Sebi, was managing to actually pull the spawns all the way for a better P2 side.
Best best game mode for both of these teams is their hard points. So if there is going to be, you know, one of those coveted matchups that could really define where this series goes, it has to be this first map in this best of 5 series. Poker already on 4 straight. Looking in the back lines will get shut down by Sebi, who hasn't had a great hot start, but again, we're in the first hill.
Yeah, this rotation over to P2, you know, in times, you know, in the past, we've seen it as a money hill, but in, you know, recency, it hasn't been so much. A very contested hill. It's hard to, you know, collect times with the amount of nades you get. If you get a trophy system down, you know, maybe that's where you're a little bit better. But you look at this play from Devilish, who's 6-0. You're kind of riding under the radar for this one. He's working around towards P3. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It seems like High Point, they want to trap JMU all the way to the back P2 spawns so that they have an easier rotation to P3.
Shots are good. Beautiful headshot there. Prey around the corner will be there for a trade. But I mean, with 30 seconds left, you know, I get you're trying to hold down the middle of the map, but like, this is still plenty of time to be able to contest for. And you can still find your way out across the map, but here's the fatal flaw. Poker has already gotten his way out to the northwest portion of the map. And now what's your game plan here? You don't push for the contention. You let them get 30 seconds of time almost for free, and now you have to fight a 1v2 gunfight on the opposite side of the map.
I'm not, you know, against that play. It's just a few steps too early if you're High Point. It still works out in your favor. You get the rotation over to P3. You get the scrap time over at P2. And now you're looking at a strong AC setup. Unfortunately for Prey, he has other ideas, and he's just going to walk out for a 2-piece, line him up, and control this up AC now for JMU. That early break could mean just pushing this lead even farther.
Devilish up the ladder on the backside. Webb is there, waiting for it. Help on the staircase, just waiting for the push now from the right side of the map that High Point is trying to set themselves up for. Waiting for player number 7 and Devilish to get into position, and now they can start making their way forward. But a beautiful nade over the top is going to put all 4 down. JMU off the respawn. They need to get there quickly. It's going to be a one-on-one at the point for the time. However, there's still going to be multiple players from High Point making this push back in.
You know, you don't normally see 2 pieces with nades in this game with the amount of trophy systems and how, you know, I guess favorable they are for those sites, but perfect for Devilish to, you know, allow for that team to keep this one close in contention over across 3 hills. But, you know, we're going to sit about 66-66 moving into this P4 setup. T-Web knows that Sebi's back here. He's actually going to hit the nade, and Sebi still wins it out. Looking for 2. Poker stretches the fight, but he's on 32 HP himself. He's not too healthy back here, so the reinforcement's going to come through for High Point. Looking for the break. Help still strong in the inside of this one. Trades back and forth, but ultimately a 3 in a row for JMU to trade out and hold control of the rotation.
And that's a fine break off the backside. You hold strong, you win your gunfights, but now you're kind of all over the map right now. You're kind of scattering. It's only going to be a one-on-one on the point here for contention. Spawns are still going to be close for JMU, but if you are High Point, you at least get them to scatter for a moment's notice. You can make this push back over towards the point, but this is a big 20 seconds to let go the opposite way, and Sexton will be there as the cleanup crew to try and find one more.
I was about to say, this is the biggest lead we've seen so far through this hard point across 4 hills, but as soon as high point gets a scrap time, it's going to, again, narrow this down a little bit. So B5 is where you probably will see 3 fast neps in the hands of each of these teams, just to keep this one a little bit fast. That's your teammate Brewing. It's not going to help for the break if you take him down, so nades right through the door. Prey going to find one, but a trade on both sides gives this an even 2-on-2 for the inside fight, though. Still time collected from JMU. They're up to 109 and counting, and still high point struggling to get their way in. Another one from Kelp. He's starting to get on a little bit of spray. Snaps over to the hill, but a Sexton for the break.
Brewing helps him out along the way. 4 HP will lay down in from the back line, though. They were not privy to that flank coming in through. Poker's going to be there. Prey now through the opposite way. A beautiful 2-man break gets JMU into the back of the hill. And what that does for the last 25 seconds, it forces the contention, disrupts high points push that they wanted to make over towards that next hill. And this should allow James Madison to get into a nice setup position over on the next rotation.
Yeah, even though high point get the scrap time, even though this is going to be a very narrow game going to the second set, I love that JMU put that focus into, fighting the outside, winning the gunfights towards admin. Just, they kind of scrap that. They go back for the mix at P5, and that's given all of that work that they had accumulated into admin away. I mean, this better be a good set of time inside P1 to give up admin so easily.
James Madison just playing with a speed across the map that High Point hasn't really been able to match with. Yes, they've been able to keep this game close, but they've always been just a step behind what James Madison has put onto the test. Sexton's inside the point in the middle of the map. Will snap back over towards the left, but it's still another player coming in from the right side. He just gets bad timing on. Rest of the teammates should be here for help in just a moment. Devilish will knock the player from JMU outside of the hill, but it is High Point who are still trying to fight here for these last 15 seconds of time. JMU, they're not in a great position for a rotation, but they're starting to make their route through the north and south side of the map.
And Devilish still has that cruise missile, so keep that in mind for when we go to hill number 3. If High Point don't want to rotate early, it's okay, because that cruise missile, I mean, we saw it in our last series, how good it could help for the break. Go for P2. You still got to put your focus here if you're High Point. Rotated early last time. Still want to dip their toes in this time around. It's going to be Sexton, a break from the front. JMU nowhere to be seen over here, but look at the spawns for High Point towards the AS&D. And that completely throws the Panthers through a loop. They don't know what to do at this point, and JMU easily break back into the hill.
It's just how far JMU pushed up the map that forced High Point to have those deep spawns all the way across the map. But I was actually surprised what JMU decided to do there. Here comes the streak, though, in from the top. Devilish going to use it on the T-Web. Not going to be able to walk away with a kill, though, but his teammates who are there for help. Poker, a good trade. 3-2 goes the way of James Madison. There's still 18 seconds left on the previous hill, so High Point should be able to get a majority of this last couple of seconds of scrap. Push back over towards the next hill. Devilish could be the difference maker here. He's already found one on the rotation.
Yeah, he needs a second one, and T-Web watching this like a hawk. I like that shriek usage, but it was just, again, a couple steps too early. Still going to pay off for High Point for the moment. Devilish peaks a little bit too far. Over aggression may cost a little bit of time here for the Panthers, and it seems like that's just been the bane of their existence here in map number 1. T-Web fighting for his life towards sign. Only good for 1. The trade's going to be there. Sebi hops into the hill. Trophy system down. A spread right now from JMU. Across the map, they have a player on the bridge, and Sebi sees it. He has the information. He has the trophy system. So relatively, he could win this one out. Swaps to the submachine gun, and Sebi, big win up top.
Big win. Spawn's still going to come from the right side of the map. If you are JMU, you're trying to push back over towards the point and up the ladder. Poker is here, but Sevi, who's on 3, has garnered himself the lion's share of the hard point here for P3. Now it's up to the rotation, but High Point, off the back end of this 15 seconds of scrap, they're going to get themselves the lead for the first time here in map 1.
Yeah, and, that's the biggest highlight for that. Finally, a break for High Point, and it's off the back of Sebi, creating a huge opportunity towards top AC. Now rotations for Sexton. Not going to check his corner. You have the early setup from JMU.
Brewing in. Semtech's going to force him up the staircase. Weaks him off. 24 HP. Still bodies dropping here for JMU as High Point are trying to break on into this point. T-Web's going to be the first line of contact here. Devilish and his teammates are now trying to make a wrap all the way back around, and they can pinch this at the same time. There's only one player that they need to take out.
Hunting for this one. Prey still finds one. even fights on the inside, but the lineup for Devilish gets 2, gets all 3, and T-Web looking from the outside in. He just needs to play for his life at the moment. There's 30 seconds. That's so important for this game right now. High Point still holding their lead, but a hit number 2 coming through from JMU. T-Web gonna come in from the staircase, brewing all alone on the inside with nothing but attack in his hand. Finally cleaned up, but you got back up from Devilish. A little bit awkward. It's gonna get to be Sexton to help out.
Need to be careful. Have to kill Sebi on the back line, and you do. So this is going to give you free time here for the first, I don't know, say 5-10 seconds before High Point can really start to make their break in towards this hill. You need to put bodies here. You get the first player of the line of contact from High Point killed and cut down. So this is going to force them to make the route through the middle of the map and not get all the way back through your spawn side, which killed you the last time. However, as I say, that off-screen engagement goes the way of Sebi. He finds Poker. Now the pinch is on.
Who else but Sebi to open things up? You had that 20 seconds wiggle room already cut down. Prey on top of the desk. Gets 2. 3 complete kills for JMU to hold strong here in P5. And now these last 35 seconds, I mean, High Point, they need to contest. They can't allow JMU to get this close to finish.
They can, but they gave the last 15 seconds to High Point. So, you know, it's kind of like a push and pull type situation, but you have to push this if you are High Point. You cannot allow yourselves to get cut down continuously here towards the hill,
no.
But they really don't have a choice because it's JMU winning the gunfights, brewing in. That's second, now a third in the row. Poker is going to be there for the trade, and that's all that really matters because with 10 seconds left, it all comes down to rotations now with JMU holding on for 10.
So tightly knit between both of these teams, but that third man always for JMU making the difference. Back to P1 we go for our third set. Sexton, top bridge. Gonna make sure nobody can get into this easily until Poker. He decides he wants it himself. 4 in a row for Poker. 8 seconds left. He makes it 5. Can't get the 6th one, but he has T-Web behind him. T-Web has Prey. And side-by-side kills for JMU to lock things down for Embassy. Map 1 goes to James Madison.
Body shots to finish it off at the end as well. They'll stay undefeated in Hardpoint thus far in the season. High Point will succeed a second map in the mode. And this is where things get interesting because if you felt like coming into the series, there was a sense of urgency from the Panthers to be able to take map number 1, you'd absolutely be correct. And here's why. We saw it at the top of the show, but if you are just joining us, head-to-head count, we saw it. Panthers 0-4 in Search and Destroy here so far on the season. We felt like they needed to take this hard point because it is statistically their best mode, but you look to the opposite side, and for JMU, also their statistical best mode as well, besides maybe Search and Destroy, and this is where things get bad because they're 4-0 on one side of the coin, and well, High Point 0-4 on the opposite. So Search and Destroy going to be interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about the hard point before we get into that, though. We'll see the replay here too, but it was a nice closely contested hard point, but again, it was JMU who were just always that one step ahead.
Yeah, just a little bit icier too in a lot of these hills. You know, High Point, they had the right ideas. You know, it's just the execution was, you know, sometimes a little bit over aggressive, a couple steps too early. I think back to the cruise missile from Devilish, although it does turn into, you know, Sebi having to clutch up and wins this right here, a big 2-piece up top to get that final time. They get the swing in score, but everything falls away when you get to this last P5 because JMU, I mean, their gunfights and High Point, they just fall apart at the end of it, and you kind of put yourselves against the ropes if you're at that point. You know, having the late rotation to P5 really punishes you there.
Absolutely. But overall, we'll take a look at the scoreboard. 28-24 from Prey leads the way with T-Web. Both very influential people around the map, but you see the wealth spread between the team when it comes to hill time. Poker a little bit further behind, but you're playing that mainline AR where you're just trying to hold down the map and let your subs really get inside of the hill, soak that up, and be able to walk away with a win. Kelp, lackluster game, but you can't really blame him, and nor will you fault him, because you still walked away with a win, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Look to the opposite side, another story where it's kind of like, hey, in the last series, not too big of a disparity in terms of the slaying. It just wasn't enough at the end, and there was a few key moments where, especially towards that tail end of P5, where you could not break into the kitchen, that just forced, 11 seconds of time to be needed for JMU. When it's a contest-heavy hill, they can get that easily if they get a couple of kills to go their way.
Yeah, it was 18 kills for Kelp. I mean, each one of them, although it is a small scoreline for himself. Minute 34 in the hill, like, there were constant times where he was winning those gunfights inside of the hard point, making sure that time was still collecting for JMU. So, even though you're negative in that sense, you're doing your job. You're getting it done. And a dub's a dub at the end of the day. You're leading this series. You're up 1-0. We're going into the Search and Destroy where Panthers, I hope they did their homework last week, because you said it yourself, 0-4 is just not good enough. It's not going to cut it inside of College COD, and this is where JMU really can take a leg up in the series, force, Panthers to have to reverse sweep the rest of things. And if you're High Point, you don't want to be in that situation at all. We're going to Hotel Search and Destroy. You know what? We just saw Newberry here. 6-0 sweep, Bama Crimson. This could be ugly if High Point are not prepared.
It can be, and like the thing is you look at a series for High Point and say, like, okay, well, maybe you're not a great search and destroy team. You lose that map too. As long as you win that first hard point and can capitalize on those respawns, you'll be fine. And in other series, they were able to do that. That first hard point goes their way. They're like, okay, cool. If the series goes 1-1, it's fine. It's whatever. But against the James Madison roster that not only is undefeated at this point, but also at the top of their class when it comes to your own division and a team that you're going to be fighting towards the end of the year. Yeah, the hard point is close, but this is a perfect opportunity to showcase what you've been working on the last few weeks, more importantly, the last few days in your search and destroy gameplay. But you're going to be tested here. Maybe you weren't used to how other teams played search and destroy. Maybe this team will play a bit more favorably on your map pick, but regardless of that fact, I think really what it comes down to is James Madison. All you need to do in this map is just win your ones, take advantage of the search, and force High Point to win a controlled series alive.
And I think I'm looking at, Sexton to really lead this roster right now into the search and destroy. Maybe, it's a new team still gelling together with Sebi into the roster. I think Sexton just needs to be vocal to not get over aggressive this time, not overchild, a few of these steps. You get that opening pick now. I like the call to just slow down. Look at the setup that you have from Sexton already. Already towards top arches.
Well, the thing is too, from watching High Point on this map last week, they love to take control of that middle map, and they love to get up and force themselves into good positions. I said in the last series, albeit it was a 6-0, taking control of the middle map can be so influential here because of the line of sight that you have over towards A, which is the favorable bomb site. But that gives you a quick rotation opportunity. Snipe kill out from Sebi, gonna find T-Web. All of a sudden, 2 players down from JMU, and High Point can now start suffocating the opposition. Bomb down as well.
And Sebi playing that sniper bottom bedroom, so there's no way you have to read there for JMU to expect it. And a very solid round here from High Point. Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing too extraordinary in their own end. It's just JMU give a little bit too much control to this map up, and it ultimately bites them. So round number 1 to the Panthers. Very clean one, flawless, without losing a single life. And like you said, it's only the round number 1, so I don't want to just highlight this as maybe this is the improvements that they made. Still time to learn.
Oh, absolutely. And again, that's just finding out your bearings and around, feeling out what you're going to be given from the opposition. And that shows me that, okay, JMU, that first round, they didn't want to play too aggressive over towards the A site. They didn't throw those stuns up, those nades up in towards bottom bedroom. They didn't get that bomb down aggressively. But High Point will probably look to do something along those lines. They love getting aggressive, forcing the issue to their opponents, and they will really start to hit it towards you. Nade out, bomb already starting to make its way forward, all the way dumped across, but it's Bray who walks away with a nade kill, and they'll pay for that aggression this time forward. Bomb recovered, still a sniper out from T-Web.
Oh yeah, they know he's down here too. If you can get it behind, catch him off guard, should be a little bit of a freebie here for Devilish, who has that silence popped. Not sure if they even called that bomb got picked up, and they don't. They have no idea. Devilish is here, but he doesn't get the kill. T-Web's still alive, and a missed opportunity from Devilish.
No more dead silence to work with either. So T-Web gets gifted his life here. Sexton starting to push the issue forward now as well. Kelp is still just looking over towards B. Should get the information that there's multiple players here and that there's nothing going back over towards B. But if you are Sexton, you're in such a great spot right now. You should see Prey's feet here in just a moment as he starts to wrap back out towards the spawn. I'm going to go down today, though. Here comes the wrap back from over at B.
And Sexton goes down, so that door doesn't open. T-Web has no pressure behind him. He's sitting pretty in this round, and yeah, you're against the clock, but you have those lives. You can wait for Kelp, and you can collapse together. Devilish is going to be the one in a position to really clutch up here. Off angle with Brewing. The stun check's going to be there. Information onto at least one of these members. It's a matter of time before it happens. Nade's going to land, and here we go. Prey around the corner, cleans up. Brewing. Devilish last alive, 17 seconds. All the way top bedroom. T-Web's got the dead silence. What can I say? It's just a play like that. T-Web just uncontested down low for so long, and he basically gets into the top bedroom without you even knowing.
Yeah, I guess if the ladder gets in behind him, and it's pretty much just a GG from there on out. At 2v3, it's manageable. but it's a lot harder to do. And you know, once you get put into 1 versus 3, you know, you're thinking in this situation, if you're Devilish, you're like, all right, I've got a really good position here. All I need to do is get bomb checks, kill 1 person. It's still a tall order, but it's a little easier to do in that regard, but still a difficult one at that. So nice bounce back there on the defensive side from JMU. And again, I love the aggression that High Point showed initially on that round. It's just that nade that came out from Prey was really the difference maker. Shut down Sexton immediately and gave them that man advantage early on in the round. So Bomb working his way back over towards A. This time they'll fly right over towards that site. Stun going to be there, but again, it's exactly what High Point love to do. Occupy the middle of the map.
Sebi with the sniper in hand. That's his second shot from bottom bedroom. You'd think he'd reposition into the second round, but you'd think wrong if you're James Madison. That's bomb down too, so that puts you in a really tight spot. Prey's watching the back line, and Devilish saw him too, so Stun's going to check. Nades into shops, ultimately backs up. That's a smart call from Prey.
Now they're going to rotate this bomb off of that check, but I don't know if Prey saw Devilish wrap back all the way across, and so he doesn't. So this is going to actually slow up their push, and the dead silence that he popped is going to basically be for nothing because all they can do now is just sit, clear things out slowly, and start to get map positioning. But, I mean, everybody wrap back over towards A. I mean, the positioning that Devilish had, you could have at least found maybe a pick, but now you're just trying to reflank or refrag all the way back over from A. This is a great wrap, and they go completely under Sexton's nose.
Yeah, but I'm sure Sexton hears somebody in this area. He's making the full wrap around. He finds Prey. Back turned. 4 versus 2 for JMU inside. The bomb's got to be planted, and here comes the cavalry. Sexton's going to blow through. Freezer finds a kill onto Kelp. T-Web with a sniper and a pistol. I mean, you clutched up last round with the kill onto 1, but he goes in for the sniper shot. I thought maybe you could find an angle onto that one, get the kill, get out, but unfortunately, JMU did not plant for the sniper.
Unfortunately, that's a cinder block wall that is going to be stopping you and your sniper from being able to clutch that up. Jumps around the corner directly into HPU, and that's just a good round for him. Being able to hold that sniper angle, get that bomb down over on that A site, it just forces the opposition to have to play around you and where you're putting yourselves on the map. Now back to offense. Will we see that same aggression over towards this A site? That's really the question to be had. Do we start maybe working a play over towards B? Surely you'll have at least, you know, maybe a 3-on-1 gunfight over there, depending on what you try to do. But it is going to be back over towards this A bomb here early on. All the way jumped on out. Nobody playing towards the bottom this time. T-Web forced all the way back with a sniper in hand, and this is going to allow them to get the bomb down here. Or at least should. I don't know why we're pushing the bomb all the way up the map.
I mean, it's interesting to say the least. Sebi, you can't go down here. You're going to see if you can weed out T-Web, and you do. No help either for the sniper. You hate to see it. And that opens up A, for a plant towards luggage. Don't think player number 1 will get eyes onto that one. No way. No way, poker.
You want to stick that too, right? Like, even if you die there, like, yes, you want to try and play your life, you want to try and get away, but if you get that bomb down, that forces JMU to have to go back to your teammates, and since that doesn't happen, now they can just kind of play a bit slower and force that bomb to have to go down. So poker in the middle of the map. We'll just be playing this quietly. 45 seconds is the retake. You look to Prey, who's also got a nice little flank route coming through bottom bedroom. All the way up and towards the top now. He is behind 1.
Oh, he shoots a little bit too early. He thought he had the kill. Just waiting information on to Prey. Poker's going to be through the middle of the map. He's hitting couches. High Point, they just need to play their corners, play their trades, wait for the time to dwindle down, and hopefully get a little bit of a freebie with these kills. Poker's going to slowly work his way into sight. Stun check onto the top, but you lose it out on Prey, so there's not much you can do in this situation. High Point, they bounce back into a 2-round gap now. 3-1.
And not to harp on, like, that initial play from High Point, but like bringing the bomb all the way up the map like that is such a risky play, because like, yeah, you're happy you walk away with a kill, but if you die there under any circumstance, that forces your teammates to have to not only push across that middle lane, but get up into the spawn side of the defense, who are just going to be playing that bomb. They're just going to be playing your lives there, and all that does is force you to have bad situations, and it's pretty much a lose-lose situation. That right there showed me, again, like, a little glimpse into, like, it's just a small decision like that is losing them their search and destroys. If they're able to clean that up, it's going to be and work wonders for them, but it's the fact that you have to clean that up. So bomb going to be working its way over towards B this time through. Checked out in middle. Prey was able to find 1. And nobody from High Point's going to be able to push in behind them just yet.
Help slowly working into Freezer. There is a player here, Devilish. He's going to give it away. Devilish just play this right. 1 would be great, 2 would be amazing, but only gonna get 1. The bomb down has to get recovered, and now Sebi's on the rotation. This is putting you in a bad spot, but take a look at Poker. Poker gets eyes on, and that's gonna give you numbers. Ooh. Another trade though the other way. This is a weird round.
Nobody flies at him directly yet though, so he's gonna be able to pop the dead silence, attack from a different angle. And this allows Sexton to be able to work and maneuver his way into a different position as well. So, break going to start to come through here in just a moment. We're going to be the first point of contact. Needs to wait for his teammate, though. Like, you can't push in by yourself. You got one behind. Oh, my God, the timing is here. He's able to find one. The second one's right below you. Hey, buddy, pop-a-doodle-doo. Second kill comes through. Defuse as well. High point, 4-1 up in the S&D. Once again on a mission to try and hand JMU their first S&D loss.
You just can't let that happen. You know, we both are on the same page that Brewing's got to wait for Sexton, but Brewing has other ideas, and JMU just, you know, one too many doors for 2 players to cover. So, walks in the back for free, gets 2 kills, and that's a round win for High Point. Now to take 3 rounds in a row for this map to be ever so in their favor so far. Hotel, I mean, if there's any time to put this win away, I'm going to knock on wood real quick, but if there's any time to put this win away and win a search and destroy if you're High Point, now's the time.
Still have a streak. At least that's what it looks like. Not exactly sure why it's there. Maybe I'm tripping, but that's at least what it looks like to me.
Maybe from score?
Possibly. Regardless, though, I guess utility in the back pocket here for High Point. Sebi starting to make his way up the map. T-Web decides to put the sniper away this time through, but Sexton will snap to him from the opposite side of the map. Top bedroom falls first. 4 versus 3. Sebi bomb in hand. Bomb will go down today.
I love this call from High Point to constantly, even though you have bomb, take control of top bedroom before you work to your next steps. That gives them full reign over that A site. It allows them so many angles to stem from. And they pick apart JMU 1 by 1. It's going to leave Prey. 1 versus 4 for the clutch. To take A in this situation with only a Vaznev would be...
Yeah.
I would... I don't know what I would do. I'd leave. I'd leave my room if he'd make this happen, but there's only 20 seconds.
Yeah, and
nobody's giving him anything to work with, so for Prey, I mean, nice try, GG, go next.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, again, one of those rounds where, like, T-Web puts the sniper away. You try to play a different angle than you've been playing throughout the majority of the game. You haven't seen the tempo that they play with to certain areas of the map, and that'll cost you. One of the lanes that you were trying to watch from gets cut down immediately, and the rest of the players who were trying to make pushes throughout the rest of the map also got cut down, so you were just getting cut down from every angle. High Point, just another almost flawless round out of them, where they put themselves on series point here instead of the search and destroy, and well, now everything starts to turn around just a bit. JMU, not a full sale, but I mean, you got T-Web at 1-5, Kelp at 0-5, still on Donut Watch, 2-6 there from Poker.
Yeah, it's not a full sale, but it would be a breakdown. Sebi still taking heads with the boomstick. Nothing's changed from the early rounds, and now looking for a second one. Just barely sees Poker's head. Oh, how does that not hit? And Poker's going to deal one back. 3-3, minute 4. Bomb looking to go down as they're stretching it as best as they can. Oh, look at this down. Look at Sexton.
Oh, yeah, Sexton's here, though. Sexton's able to find one. Second one comes through. Now it's Prey left alive in a 1 versus 3. He's just running for his life off screen right now. You can see it all the way through. It is Devilish who walks away with a kill in from behind. The defuse will come through. High Point will get their first search and destroy win of the season. JMU, they'll be handed their first search and destroy loss.
They did it! Corn, they did it! They won a search and destroy. It only took them 5 times, but they got 1 on the board. And a good one, to say the least. A 6-1 win on Hotel. I know what the auto veto was against them last week. I wonder if teams even played them on Hotel last week, because they look good.
Oh,
I mean, leave it to college players to do their homework between weeks and come back swinging in week 2.
Absolutely. High Point looked extremely good there. I don't know if it's just a bad map from JMU, but regardless of the fact, the aggression we saw from High Point, it's just a focal point of how this team is able to play together. But they were confident. It didn't seem like, you know, they were like kind of haphazard with the pushes they were making. They were executing the play that they had set out to make from the very beginning of the round. And that's what you have to do in Search and Destroy. You can't second guess yourself when you're going to a specific site. You know, you can't double back and be like, oh, well, maybe we can just get out of here real quick. And then, you know, without having information on where everybody else is. And, you know, you have to give a big, you know, kind of prop to High Point for the sniper gameplay that we saw throughout the multiple rounds that they were on offense and defense. It got them big picks across the board. JMU had snipers out of themselves to try and counteract that, but realistically, they just weren't hitting their shots like High Point were, and it was giving them an advantage every time.
I can't believe Brewing got away with that too. I mean, there's no world where you should have got into Kitchen without being checked on one of the doors. It's an oversight for JMU, you know, just one of many oversights throughout the Search and Destroy. And who knows, maybe, you know, JMU just underprepared going into today. You know, you see that stat line of eight High Point, and you think, yeah, you know, it's going to be a walk in the park when we get to the Search and Destroy. Nada. Not at all. Big old Sexton steps up to the plate, 8-1. Sebi was putting on a clinic with that sniper. And yeah, I mean, donut alert for Kelp. 6 rounds, he goes 0-6.
At least it wasn't 7, but no, regardless of the fact. 7? But, nah, like, again, I'm just going to say this as my last little, like, kind of cookie crumb into the entire equation before we send things to a break. JMU shot bodies after map 1. That would have pissed me off, too, so we've got ourselves a series now.
Just don't shoot bodies. Just don't shoot bodies. It doesn't work in your favor from what we've seen. High Point find their first Search and Destroy win, and that's going to even us up in the series 1 apiece, folks. Let's cut to a break and just let's take it all in for a second. We'll come back with the control. We'll see that map 3 and see who takes the swing in the series. All smiles on the broadcast here as we hop into yet another 1-1 control. We're going back to a CeeLo here between High Point and JMU. Alex, it's been a crazy series so far. High Point get their first Search and Destroy win. And now I think, you know, anything's possible in this series. Both of these teams not having the best record in control leaves this really in the fact that it's a swing map mode combo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, 1 and 2 for both of these teams in the mode specifically. CeeLo kind of been like that standard control map that we've been seeing a lot more every series. It just kind of feels like this is like our like go-to map for control. Really, it's kind of hard to like decipher like the good and the bad from each of these teams because it's been such like different flashes of brilliance we've seen out of each of the two teams. Like for JMU, for example, like, you know, early on, it was just being that one step ahead. Like, you know, they were very okay with making that split-second decision of, okay, do we go for the scrap time here? Do we go and hop out for the next rotation? And even when they didn't have to make that decision, their breaks were on point just enough to where High Point always had to kind of fluster around the map. And you know, it was just so much map control that they had on that embassy where High Point kept continuously being just across the map and having to fight back in. And those pushes that would normally take like, you know, 5-10 seconds to really make happen, it was like a 15-20 second thing where they could only make like 2 really good, concise, calculated pushes towards the hill. So S&D came around. High Point showed back with aggression, though. They were able to take over control of JMU just with their high flying power and ability. But as Sexton opens the door up here, it's everybody starting to make their way over towards A on offense, but they get shut down quite quickly.
Yeah, Devilish on the pinch, clears out Prey, finds 2. That's easy as you could ask for towards A. They stop the time and now start the progression into that. Proker, top radio, working alongside Kelp, see if they can clear these players out. Kelp gets it done. 0-6 in the Search and Destroy, but it's a big play right now to make to salvage that A zone and that first tick here in map number 3.
Snap back by Brewing. We'll just lay down low, wait for JMU to force their way back over onto the point, but that second tick of progress is going to come through. Gunfights continuing to go the way of JMU, and they'll finally clear the point. But this is the ping pong we talk about. Back over towards A. This is where High Point can really start to set up, but it is a very fast and aggressive hit by JMU.
Yeah, this is what Akron was facing back on their original rounds for LSELO Control is just having to go back and forth so much. It started to kind of fall through their fingertips on this defensive side. So is it some good moments from High Point to try to get a round win on offense and push JMU into a situation where they need an offensive round of their own. 2 segments captured at A. Brewing gets clear first. Kelp's going to be there for help, but it's all up to Sebi, and it's not going to go farther than that. T-Web finish the job.
Love what James Madison are doing right now. Instead of just spending like 2 people over to the other site, everybody's flying together and being able to break back to these hills with a full team hit, opposed to it just being a 1-by-1 hit. And that's exactly what they do back here over towards B. Oh, Papa Kelp, give him 3 in a row. 4 life disparity between the 2 teams. They're going to go ahead, dwindle that progress back down over on B, and now it's back at A where they're going to set up because they realize that High Point have just gone back and forth every time. They have not hit the same site twice.
It seems like Papa Kelp's a little angry that you pointed out his donut watch. Back in map number 2, he's turned things around here in Control and looking a lot better in the respawn, as Kelp has definitely been the most lackluster player when it comes to the slaying potential in JMU. So if he's heating up, then JMU definitely going to be in good hands for this map 3. Unfortunately for them, they lose the A zone. You add another minute of time here. Working over towards B, they cannot allow even a single segment in the zone without losing the round.
Sexton in the back line has the AR out, was able to win the first gunfight on Dupre. This is a big flank route now all the way through the back, but Devilish is forced to back off. 13 HP. It's Sexton who finds another kill. And while all these bodies from JMU are focused on their spawn, this should allow High Point to make their way up the map. If they can get that player number 5 in Prey, who's just sitting around the point right now, this is going to allow the collapse to start coming in from High Point. They need to be careful, though. 8 lives remaining. They're only going to have really 2 full team pushes at this hill, if that.
Yeah, things dwindling for High Point. Backed against the ropes right now, but Devilish is in a position. Finds attack, 56 up top, so not too bad of a weapon to have in this situation, though. Sebi's going to go down, and Devilish is going to pitch down. Kelp finds 2, and that's bringing the lives even farther down for High Point. They're going to have to hop on this time, so you can draw some of these players from James Madison out, find the kills needed. Kelp goes down. That's 3 in a row, 4 in a row. They stack the side, and that's done. That's it. That's round over. And High Point, they strike first.
And it comes down to like one little micro play there towards the end of the round. You saw a player try to make a flank play from JMU through the back line. I believe it was T-Web there. And instead of anything like truly happening, he just gets put in a blender by the 2 players that got off the spawn. He thought he had the better timing and was going to be able to get behind the 2 players that were still pushed up from High Point. Instead, it all falls apart, and the low man advantage to High Point ends up being what needed them or willed them the round win. They put their bodies on the point. They stack over towards B. They only needed the 1 tick of progress. So, I mean, credit where credit is due. They were able to ping-pong those sites to perfection.
And now let's see if James Madison can recreate that, replicate a round win of their own. Kelp a little unchecked there towards that A zone. Sebi's going to fly forward. And a little bit of control into the innards of LSELO. A lot of backup, too, when it comes to the AR. Sexton and Brewing firing on all cylinders. You love to see that if you're a Panthers fan, but Kelp's still going to hop on A, stop this clock at a minute 6, and force some of these players out of the weeds.
The JMU pushing their way over towards the point. They're going to wait for the spawns to come in. Now they're going to start making their way up the map. However, all that time that they had wasted there to try and make sure that they could force the spawns towards that northeast portion of the map now turns into a situation where they lose a few lives, and JMU have now started to hit their way all the way out over towards A, and that first tick of progress should come through here with relative ease, and it will. So now it's the break back from HMU.
Prey knows there's a player up top. Has to clear patio first. It's job well done. 3 down in a row. Second segment already done. They finish off Sebi, and that's going to be the A zone done and dusted. Slap another minute onto the time bank. All the spawns for the Panthers going to be towards B, so they should be able to reinforce this right away. And they deal with a kill onto T-Web. Everybody in a solid position here for High Point.
Kelp is the first point of contact. Doesn't spot him below the barrel. Will snap up towards the top. Now another one over towards the left side. Kelp 13 and 9, 3 in a row. Everybody's stacking this point, and it's a foot race from High Point. I don't know if they'll be able to get here.
No, he just explodes onto the side. All 3 players find 4 separate kills for JMU, and that's the way it goes in LSELO. You cannot let that happen. It all starts with Kelp, but what an excellent timed hit here. As soon as Kelp shows face, everybody is looking towards him, and that's where poker works best.
That's such a difficult hit, man. Like, It sucks because if you're High Point, you know the aggression's coming, but you don't know that Kelp is going to be able to snap to find one and then snap up towards top AC. You think you at least get one there, maybe stall out that push just a bit, but you get a 4 down, and with how deep those spawns are on defense, it's just a GG if everybody goes to stack the point. I'm glad that they all stack the point instead of trying to push out the spawn side too.
Sabby, another 2-piece for the books. 8 and 10. Hasn't actually, he hasn't been that guy today for High Point. Sexton's been starting to, fall back into the books as that standout player for High Point Esports. But nonetheless, the support that you're getting from Sebi in the critical moments has been the intangibles right now for High Point Esports. So, JMU forced to recontest into this A zone. Kelp not going to win the fight, but has help with Prey. So, A is going to be dealt with, and all the players immediately going to speed their way over to B.
Only one player on it right now, but you have Sexton all the way in your top lines. Kelp isn't able to find any shots on the Sexton either. He'll escape with his life and now can get back up for another high challenge contest. This Prey's out the doorway. He's able to find Sebi. This is going to cause at least a pinch from the back line here. And as Kelp is able to find yet another one there, Sexton's on an island by himself. Going to try and find at least a couple more kills to tack on here.
I mean, this map, at least the past 2 rounds, Corin has felt like nothing but God timing in the epitome of the fact. And JMU, they constantly just find themselves in the right place, right time, moving around the map. They're just flowing like water at this point. So, a High Point, they're going to be stuffed out towards B, shut down at A, 30 seconds left inside the round, and it seems like they know that A is rightfully so where they need to go, and Prey's going to pop Daddy, and he's hitting the flank. A team nade from High Point. This could blow up.
Good. And that's 5 in a row. Now trying to snap for number 6. Turns back to the spawn side. 15 seconds left. They just have to try and stall the clock out here. Now information on where Sebi is. Utility in the back pocket. And with 10 seconds left, it's a hit over towards B. It's the last one of the round.
The things you hate to see in the last moments of a round is a team nade. The defensive team just to control everything and pounce on their Prey. You got an 8 spree for Prey himself. 4 seconds left into this round. You got a last-ditch effort onto A for these players, but his poker's going to go down. Prey follows. You're going to have a stack onto the zone, and look how far away JMU are spawning, so we're not done with this just yet.
And all the ticks of progress you can get, you will take for High Point here on offense. Sexton on 3 in a row. It's all going to be about pushing back over towards B. You don't want to throw any lives away, and while that's not going to help, Devilish will fall to the hands of Kelp inside of the building. You got 3 players left alive in here trying to find a trade. You're going to be able to find one, but it's not before everybody else falls.
Help on screen. He's going to get information as the player towards K. Sexton almost wins that out. Unbelievable from himself, but no more respawns for High Point, so this isn't going to be the easiest take towards B. But yeah, wait a second. I'm here. I'm listening, Corn.
There's still an opportunity for a push here. All 4 players have made their way up the map. They killed those first 2, but I would love to see them go a little closer forward. Prey gonna snap around the corner. That might have ruined all that they had set up for themselves. It's 2 players on the point. T-Web gets the perfect snap onto both of them. They line up for him. And, well, yeah, you don't need to listen to me anymore. This old man's out of breath. Or JMU.
You're like the youngest person on the
High Point
broadcast team.
Hey, bro, like, don't gotta do me like that. Come on now.
What a round from JMU, I'd have to say. Prey himself, 8 kills in a row. I think he had a precision airstrike, too, if I wasn't mistaken. So if that's the case, and I was highlighting this earlier in the day, is that the precision airstrike doesn't get caught by trophy systems. So a map like El Asilo, if you're looking at B control, if you're looking to clear B in any sense of the way, this is the perfect streak to have it.
Okay. Well,
okay.
That's certainly one way to open up the round. Devilish, shots on the Kelp. Nade will fly up forward.
What?
Won't be able to find him just yet. Good trade back from the teammates. 1 life advantage to the side of High Point. This B hit has been slow so far. They've wasted 30 seconds of time already. Team kill and High Point pushing up the map.
And I don't want to be the one to point fingers here for High Point, but Devilish definitely needs to start heating up for this team. 7 and 17, when you're looking for a map win here in the control, not going to cut it at all. So looking at him to heat up, but that's a 2-piece for JMU to open up this map. Prey's going to hunt down the last. So again, High Point sent packing on their defensive side, and that's going to give JMU a little bit of time for progress at A. First take is going to be cemented. Here comes Brewing up top. Only good for one. It's Prey still in the back line, shutting down the rotations of High Point, making it so hard for them to get into these zones.
Great stack, too. This allows Prey to get out towards the top of the building. 5 HP, I was going to say. Sebi, you cannot let him kill you there, and he doesn't. Walks away with his life. Still all 4 here from High Point over towards this B zone. Occupying the south side of the map now is JMU. But as James Madison find those first 2, sure, it's Sexton with a trade, but Poker's still going to be here all the way from back over on the site. Sebi is going to be able to get help from the spawn.
You still have that streak if you're JMU and you want to end it here. So Prey, I wouldn't put it past him to, invest the streak and try to win it in 4. Hiding in the brush, Devilish not going to check close enough. So there's the opening that JMU are looking for. Spots another one, almost wins it out to Brewing, but back to the drawing board. JMU now down in lives for this attack towards B. And right now, High Point, this is a solid setup that they do have, but remember back into the last offense and how fast it fell apart. Here comes T-Web with 2.
Might happen again here. Poker's going to drop down. Huge, and I mean huge kill from Sebi. That'll force at least that first player that was going to be out and towards that alleyway from being able to push up the map. So allow the spawns to come back in here from High Point. But his Prey's going to spot another one out. Shots are going to be there. Stun going to force him to back off for a moment's time. And it's Brewing who finds another kill on the map.
T-Web opens up, hops onto the zone. 27 seconds left. Still back and forth trade, so nothing too comfortable just yet if you are JMU. And T-Web falls, so that's making it a little harder to want to dedicate yourself to the zone. 20 seconds left, Corn. This is down to the wire for this round for JMU. They do not want to give up just yet, but Devilish, he shuts the back door, and that just may be the nail in the coffin for round number 4.
That'll do it. 5 seconds left. Even if you want a gunfight here, you're not going to be able to push up the map in time. There's so many purple arrows around it for a trade on the hill. 5th round here. Respawns have been fun. They've been close so far. This is the biggest point in the series so far. Who will take this coveted map, number 3, into a map 4 with the lead in the series?
At one point, Devilish only had 7 kills in that round, so 12... You start to see him heating up a little bit. I did point my finger at him, so, it's nice to see the turnaround here to put this into a round 5 scenario. Another round 5. Another round 5 on El Asilo. It seems like it's just meant to be.
5 in a row from Sebi. Don't count out what could be a streak in the most important round of the game on a defense. Ray making his way forward. In towards the bar. They didn't check it the last time through. They don't check it this time, but at least it's a trade for Kelp. 1 kill off the board from each team, but it's Poker with a nade. They don't read Brewing out in towards the top of Satellite. He's able to find one. Second on the radio tower is good. Kelp, the last one in the zone. He's spotted out. Teammate helps in from above. Sebi there. Can't find the kill, but it's still not the time being stopped over a day until now at B. JMU is going to hold their residence.
Yeah, it seems like that performance in Search and Destroy has for sure lit a fire under Kelp for this control. Over towards B, they're going to look to hop on for a little bit of progression, but still with the setup here, Prey going to figure out a kill onto Sexton for clear to top window. And T-Web a second one, so it looks like JMU, different from the rest of their offenses, they are putting a lot of stock into this B zone.
They've got a stack on it. The last time they put 4 bodies on it, they were able to win their offensive round. This time they'll flip the first stack. T-Web clears out. Take it.
All the way up top, 1:33 left inside of the zone. They clear off the B and Corn. Lives about even. JMU, this A zone, maybe just one zone, still hard to defend, but with only having to look at this one sole area, we've seen teams clutch up when they need to over on A.
Ray started this game off at 6-8. Since that point, he is now 29-16. Cannot be stated that 23-8 at this point in the game has been a huge reason why JMU have been able to get out to a nice little lead. As that B zone has been captured, we saw a great hold earlier on this A zone, but Prey from the back line hits the 30-point mark. It will have another one up top as well.
Cleared off by Devilish. Starting to heat up here in the control. Kelp, next one on. one by one. I mean, these individual gunfights are not going to pay off for JMU. You saw the exact same thing happen back with Bama. They were exploiting this mistake that Newberry made toward this A zone time and time again. And if JMU, if they want to individually push this, they're okay with that if you're High Point, but there it is. Prey finds the break. Sexton, it's his turn. Not good enough, only good for one. And a sack is out, Corn.
Stack is in. Player 2, the last one here. Devilish needs to start getting into the point. You're going to invest the streak here, but it needs to hit. It needs to connect with at least 2 because they're still on the point.
And there's a trophy. Seppi fighting for his life, but Poker shuts him down. And JMU, they don't care if they're on offense for round number 5. They step up to the plate and they take another respawn against High Point.
It's just so unfortunate there if you are High Point. You have the streak to use. You have all the people and utility around the point. But it all came down to Devilish not winning the one-on-one gunfight through the back line there. When he gets turned on, everybody just starts to flood onto the point. Your teammates aren't there for a trade. You're forced to invest the streak. Nobody's around the point, even if they start getting inside and scatter around. And then the trophy, which, admittedly, I don't think a trophy should be able to destroy a streak. Regardless, the trophy destroys the streak. Nobody gets hit by it. It's on the wrong side of the site anyways to even find anybody, so I don't know if that was going to be really that big of a factor. But regardless, it's just little things at the end of the game that JMU did just a touch better, and it feels like the same story that we were singing at the end of the hard point.
It's an excellent strat to go into that round 5 and say, hey, you know, B hasn't been working out the best for us, so let's do that one first and then move over to A. You know what? Trophy systems, they don't care what you think, Corn, so it works out in JMU's favor. They take map number 3 and they make it look a little bit closer than Comfort, I'd say, towards, you know, that hard point was a little bit more in their favor, but still, I mean, these are some close games between High Point and JMU, and I don't know what to think now. Going into the hard point, yeah, High Point for sure can take a map win, send us to a game 5, and if they do, again, we got to go back to that search and destroy thought, but, I mean, JMU just icy in the respawns for now.
And again, like, going back to another hard point, yes, like, all the recipes for success are there for High Point to be able to take a respawn. And, like, again, from going from last week to this week with what the search and destroy has looked like from this team, yeah, it shows that they have a quick turnaround capability. They have done their homework in the right ways, yes. But can you be able to do that from map to map in a series? First hard point, you lose by about 50. You want to go in, and you're not even want to. You have to go in to this next one with a must-win mentality. You don't want to drop a series that has been within your grasp to a very strong James Madison roster, because this is going to put you down another peg in the standings. And you're a team that, again, is fighting tooth and nail with this JMU roster. You have shown that you can compete with them. The best way to show that and truly force that opinion into everybody else's heads is to be able to force a map number 4. If you can't do that, it's just another series that JMU walks away from, and High Point just gets put down another peg out of the top 25, and what would be my humble opinion.
You look at the rest of the scoreboard, too. I mean, Slang wasn't too crazy on either side. I pointed out Devilish at one point. He was 7-17, finishes out 18-27, so a big turnaround for him towards the back half. I'd say for High Point in that last round, it was the rest of the team that started to slow down, and Prey exposes that. He goes 34-17, 30 of those kills non-traded, by the way. So that is an insane stat to be its own. And going into this hard point, if Prey can do that again, it's going to make High Point, it's going to make their job a little bit harder going into this one. But looking at our maps for the series, as we go into this map 4, back to a hard point, we are going to trying to remember which one we're going. We're going to a hotel. We're going to a hotel for this map number 4. And, High Point, they've found success on this map back in the Search and Destroy, but with their series on the line, let's see if they can push it to a map number 5. And that was a JMU map 3 win. So don't get yourselves fooled there.
Yeah, whole different ball game here, though. We're talking about the hard point here for Hotel. Yes, it's, you're going back to the same map where you won, and, probably put some good confidence in you. And you do like this map if you are High Point. When you played against Mox COD, this was a map that you were able to take consistently against them. And if you didn't take the map, you were damn close in being able to find your way to a win. It's just going to be another one of those very close, kind of tight-knit situations where you just can't afford to let yourselves get put behind JMU early in the game, because they will make you pay for that. They have very good decision making. It's why they were able to win that very close control there towards the end, you know, forcing themselves over towards B. They win the gunfights there. Sure, that helps out a lot, but it's that initial decision that catches High Point just a bit off guard that forces them to go back over towards A, win those gunfights there, and then be able to break back onto that zone. They did the same thing in the Embassy, where, you know, you saw time after time after time, somehow not only were they getting that tail end of scrap time, but they were also rotating out for those first 20 seconds of time before High Point really had that chance to break. Now, admittedly, High Point's breaks were extremely good. It's the reason that game was so close. JMU needs to figure out how to be able to counteract that and make an even bigger gap between these two teams in this next hard point. But if High Point can figure out how to get the end of scrap time, or just eliminate JMU's possibilities to have one lingering guy on a flank route, or just being able to play at, you know, the tail end of a hill, they should not comfortably, but pretty easily be able to find their way to, if it's not a close hardpoint finish, maybe even a win that forces them at 5.
I mean, we're gonna have to wait to see for this map number 4. You know, both of these two teams, they've been playing a very tightly knit respawn. Corn, I mean, sure. That hard point, by all means, 100%. You know, JMU wins it. They win the control too, but it hasn't been easy at all. So I think the big storyline here is that High Point, they could do it. And we are in the realm of possibility for a Game 5. You know, JMU, they went to a Game 5 against Newberry even. So we know that there are some mistakes that James Madison, they do make. And that Game 5 is definitely possible. But, you know, the overall storyline between both of these two teams is High Point, they want to take down one of the top power ranking teams that we do have. JMU is definitely a little bit higher than they are, so maybe knock them down the bracket while they move up a little bit. And James Madison, they're looking at the standings for their region over in the Southeast. They're 3-0 right now, tied with Mars Hill, tied with Mox. A win here would continue to put them on that upward trajectory of being in the top echelon of this division. You know, even maybe, let's say, James Madison, they make some changes. They upset the Dragons. They upset Mars Hill or Mox. It would write up a crazy script for this division to be absolutely thrown to the wayside.
Absolutely. And like, I love the point you bring up. Like, yeah, like High Point, they want to be able to take down a team that's better than them, because as much as this is a standings match and a seeding match for later on in the year, it's a pride match at the end of the day. Like when you go out as a competitor, you want to beat teams regardless if they're better or worse than you. You want to be able to take a series, and especially when everybody is kind of counting you out in the series or writing you down a peg against an opposition, you want to be able to take that fire, be able to fuel yourselves forward and beat that team. High Point have a very good shot to be able to at least force a map 5, and if they can figure it out in their search and destroy like they already did in map number 2, oh, this very easily could turn things around. Stuck in the back of the head, another grenade team kill for JMU to start off a round, or even a respawn in general. So High Point will be the first team in towards the middle of the map. Like we said in the search and destroy, they love to occupy the middle, and this is exactly what they're going to do to start out the game.
I think Poker just has something against Kelp at this point. It's the second time he's done it, same person too, and it's just, yeah, some internal business going on for James Madison. Leave it to your own time, not in the middle of a game. And we see High Point start off strong with some uncontested time for the moment until Prey breaks on through, and JMU with the better spawns for TP2 at the moment. But you have to keep your eyes on Sexton, again, looking to make a very monumental play for his team.
Now I'm looking for player 8 and Sebi. Getting into the back lines. Brewing spawns up by the restaurant is going to be able to help this out as well, but JMU are going to be able to read this. Will you be able to cut them out of your spawn side? That's going to be the real question, but Sexton pops a double, and this is going to allow them to have a free entrance in towards the hill. Sure, you're going to have a player in the back, but the spawns are going to be all the way across the map.
Oh, Sexton plays that perfectly. Waits for the players to come through him from D2. One by one, they drop Prey, and the back line's going to get hunted down, so the turnaround for High Point's going to grow this lead a little bit more at this point. A well-placed nade from Sexton, and they keep on falling until T-Web gets the break for a moment. Still not going to hold on full control. You got the collapse coming through from all these arrows from James Madison. Prey's going to get the job done. Just single-handedly opens things up for JMU to try to keep some time away from High Point here.
And see, that would have been what I wanted to see out of High Point. If you're able to win that last kill there, then you have the ability to lock down that last 15 seconds, force JMU to rotate into the team that's already across the map. We've already seen adjustments come out here from the Panthers. They look so much different than they did in map number 1, and it shows. Got themselves a lead, now can hold down this kitchen. If they get the lion's share of time on this money hill, they're going to be looking good for P4.
Oh, Sebi, he's got good form right now. on the back of this kitchen table. It's not going to pay off, though, for the fact that only Sexton to watch over him. And it's a 3-for-1 trade on the inside of this early break from JMU. This might be a good segment from 2 to 3. They actually make this work, and this might be the swing that they were looking for. Unfortunately for them, they don't have the spawns in the back, and High Point, they get right back into business.
Being able to just pound and pound at that hard point and wait for those players to have to make mistakes on the team that's spawning on the far side is so important. Those last 20 seconds of time here, High Point need to be able to hold this down. You can see a couple of arrows now starting to make their way across the map. Again, just that solid aggression. They're not going to expect them here to be that close. But as Sexton spots T-Web there on the staircase, should be able to walk away with a kill here for one, and will be shot in the back from Prey, but it's still more teammates here. High Point looking to make this break stick.
Yeah, back and forth trades. At least double the points right now. And they have them pinned in the back, so Devilish going to hop up onto this Godheady. Reversal a little bit. We don't usually see it from this angle, but Devilish is looking to make it work for the rest of his team. Prey has Desk under control, is going to pop a quick 2-piece, but you still have time collecting for High Point, and that is not what you want if you're James Madison here soon. You need to find a break, and Devilish still continuing to collect these kills. Has Sexton to back him up. Kelp's going to fall as well. The 3 kills in a row for High Point just continue to keep the time pouring in their favor. And now with 21 seconds left, you have to be thinking if you're James Madison. Do you even want to hit this at this point? You need the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be wanting to play for a full 60 here opposed to the last couple of seconds of scrap time, but like you already have a few players out on the rotation, so if you can stay here and just prevent High Point from getting the majority of that scrap time, you're going to be happy with that either way. So yes, the decision was made, but they've gotten themselves over towards the restaurant. Nice shots there from Brewing. Are going to find Prey. T-Web and towards the middle of the map is going to be able to find an equalizing trade, but you have to look for Sebi here. He needs to go quick before player number 1 can get in from behind. He'll be able to find the first, snaps to the second, can't find the kill. With 48 seconds, JMU still holding down the fort.
Sexton, no, nice shots there, but can't finish the kill. He's got backup. Devilish now looking for the break alongside his trusted sidekick, his trusted duo throughout College COD. Sexton breaks with the help. And now from the outside looking in, you have a flank on the Prey. JMU, you're going to need to not allow any more time going, and here comes Prey to help break through with T-Web.
Both great hard point teams. High Point have gotten themselves out to a nice little start here. But across the map is where everybody's going to need to find themselves set up. Sexton, the first one here. Prey, pre-aim onto Sexton. Nice little shot and kill there. We'll go and head through, but with 10 seconds left, you see all those yellow arrows down towards the bottom left of the mini-map. That's where the next hill will be, and they're going to have to start cutting off High Point, who are coming through the north side. Going to go directly south.
T-Web, he has no idea he's trapped right now, but they don't know T-Web's here. They don't know T-Web's here, and that's going to completely blow open the setup that High Point had for the moment. Still T-Web unchecked. That's 2 kills in a row for him to really spoil the fun for High Point. Looking to get some eyes onto this hill from the outside. Kelp inside bedroom finds 2. Excellent shutdown on High Point to make this even harder for them to contest this hill. T-Web's going to close off the back door. Devilish the only one close to this hill, and he's underneath, but they know they hunt him down, and so far so good for JMU here on P5, or sorry, P6 inside the hill. This might be a full 60 at this point.
Yeah, it's looking like it. With these last 20 seconds and the last few contestants that are coming through, nobody losing lives here for JMU around the point. They're going to get back to the middle. They've won the initial gunfights here as well. It's going to be a bit more scrappy, a bit more contest-heavy here as High Point are trying to get back over towards the zone. But as T-Web is able to find his 6th kill in a row, that's going to be streaks. And for the first time, JMU have taken the lead here on Hotel.
A big turnaround for JMU, but this is the same story that we sung for High Point back in Embassy. Now, the difference is, can JMU continue the success and start pushing this lead a little bit farther, expanding on what they have so far? The body shots again from T-Web. You know how this went last time, Corn. You don't want this to blow up for T-Web, or it might just look silly.
I mean, you're only up by 8 points. I know you're feeling hot. You're feeling good right now if you are T-Web off the back end of that streak. 20 and 12 here on the map, 51 seconds. But you have to look to Kelp right now. If you are a JMU, needs to step it up. Has to step it up here if you want to be able to take this game. And with kill number 18, excuse me, kill number 8 out of 18, Brewing will now snap back over towards the right and find the trade.
Poker, big win there onto Brewing. So the back spawn going to be under control. T-Web there, looking to lock things down. Have to go up against Sexton soon, but again, when we saw Sexton in this position was, I guess, the difference maker for the break. Early on for High Point this time around, they don't leave it unchecked. Prey's going to hunt this down. Last player to D2, Sebi. Let him go for now, but Prey eventually is going to have to deal with this. He's got backup from Poker and High Point. I mean, deja vu to P5 on Embassy. Solo chows after solo chows. Inside of P2, they do not want to allow this go the wrong way now. Prey on the flank. Shot down. The contention is through. Help's going to be there, but it's going to be High Point after all to get the remainder of this time, barring T-Web.
It was a good crossfire that they had through the back lines, but it was High Point who was able to win the majority of the gunfights there. They sent 2 through the double main doorway, in through the lobby, and that allows them to walk away with 15 seconds of time. You look out, and guess who it is? The route man, Sexton, here laying down in the back lines, but he gets bad timing, still gets away with his life. Kelp now going to try and throw a stun out the back door. Won't be able to find anything, but he does connect there as Prey across the map is able to find a second kill. Spawn's going to be close. Nobody here from High Point. Once again, JMU, a chance at turning this into a money hill.
You got 17 seconds of wiggle room to make it across this map, but look at this positioning from Prey. Are they going to check it? He's getting all the information, and he almost pops up a little bit too soon. Goes 1 for 1, slowing down the Panthers a little bit longer. Poker now, it's his turn for a little bit of good form, but Kelp around the back. He's not going to be able to make the win onto Brewing. Now for the Flood on forward. The gates are open, and here they come. The Panthers flying on forward. It's a 3 for 3 trade. Prey's going to win the 1 versus 1 and continues to hold strong for JMU.
Last time it was James Madison who made the break in, got it to stick. High Point were on the back end of an unfortunate break. This time, though, it was the side of High Point that tried to break in. JMU hold resilient and now force the rotation back over to the opposite side of the map. Sure, you're going to get 10 seconds of time here. Did you rotate out too early, and will you be able to snuff out Sebi in the back line?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sebi has to find an opening here for the team. T-Web's going to get cut down. Kelp has to trade. He will. The kill in the back is going to leave you eyes forward for JMU as they say, okay, have that scrap time we want next. And Prey, top bedroom. You have to deal with this player first.
Semtex around the corner. Weakens the player up. Prey will find the shots onto the top of Sevi. 217, 205. They can win off of this hill. High Point losing bodies at an alarming pace in the middle of the map. They need to break through the lobby. It's their last chance, and T-Web is here.
You have to think. I'm just getting deja vu from Embassy all over again, but here's the break. Sexton and Sebi, can they combine for the break? And Sebi gets 2. High Point, they hold on for now. Prey's still alive. You got spawns in the back. You can't win on this hill anymore. We are going to go to another one. We're going back to restaurant.
Poker able to find 2. Sexton a trade. Now everybody across the map. The first player in the hill is going to be Kelp. He has to look for Sexton here, who's in the back line. The spawns are going to be extremely close for High Point. JMU need to get across the map and not get stuck in the middle of the map.
Oh, Kelp's got to run. He stays alive. Poker, a 1 for 1 trade. 3-3 on the inside of this hill. You got the trophy down. You can back it up. 13 seconds for the win. Here comes Devilish for 1. Around the corner, he's traded, but it's 3 in a row for High Point. The Panthers, they do it again. No way, Corn.
All they need to do is hold them from the kitchen. If they're able to break in, JMU win this game because High Point will be too far away to break back on the spawns. Here it is. Last push in. Brewing's going to be able to find the first. JMU is here for the break.
Poker, he needs to step up. T-Web, can he continue? You shot bodies, T-Web. You cannot let this go. 2 seconds left to the Panthers. Map 5 we go. 250 to 248.
That is how you put an exclamation mark on a hard point win versus an adversary you had yet to take a respawn off of in a best of 5 series. Map 4 goes your way. You had a lead at the beginning. James Madison bounced back, but you punched them down with the last hit. And now it's time in a series where a lot of people counted you out to go to a game number 5 and finally put the fairy tale to rest.
Woo! I cannot believe what we just got, Corn. I mean, Panthers.
Maybe.
I would have counted them out there as soon as we saw the swap in lead from James Madison. They started to grow that lead longer and longer. They got the rotations. You know, they got the rotations, I think, in all of those last hills too. But the breaks from the Panthers, icy so far. In game number 4, they ice up. They get the job done, and we're going the distance. We're going all the way to another Game 5.
Oh, James Madison have been here before, though. It was against Newberry where they were able to take that series in game number 5. But we'll take a look back through the entirety of this hard point. Here's the last hill. As you walk through it, you can see High Point had all the angles necessary. They win their trades, but really what it came down to was JMU. Yeah, they won a couple of gunfights here and there, but with High Point's close spawns and having to fight through only basically 2 doorways and no middle map presence from yourselves. I mean, High Point with wine control, it's almost impossible to break from any other way unless you take such a difficult gunfight out of the freezer and into the restaurant.
I mean, that was crazy. T-Web shot bodies again, too. And it comes back. You know what happened last time that happened? It was a 6-1 search and destroy. Well, I mean, High Point a little bit upset at the fact that that happened. You look back at the scoreboard, too. I mean, Prey has been different so far today for James Madison. Sure. You cannot, go about looking at the scoreboard without highlighting him. 21 non-traded kills. Almost 4,000 damage, too. Leading the lobby in damage, might I add. Yep. But it's just the rest of James Madison. It's just like in situations where you're doing the right thing, you are getting the rotations, it comes down to a lot of these gunfights. And, I think Kelp has had 1 out of 4 good maps so far, and that was the control in El Asilo. 13 and 26 is definitely something you have to look at. Only 52 seconds in the hill. Going into this game 5, I mean, this is really anybody's game.
I mean, at least you have the 52 seconds, right? Like, it's not like a bad stat line when you talk about the hill time, but it's the fact that, like, those 13 kills, like, where do you find those kills on the map? Are they going to be on, like, little rotation picks, or are they just going to be heat of the moment, like, back and forth quick trades that are happening all throughout the map? And if they are those, like, really quick trades and they're not really equating to much time, those 13 kills feel even less important around the map. And in a situation like this, like, you hate to say, like, oh, 13 kills, you gotta step it up, but you do. You genuinely do. Like, there's no way around it. In a close game that's within 9 points, it doesn't matter.
It could have been the difference maker in that game between the end there for High Point, but we got map 5 coming up, Gordon. Last map of the day for the last match of the day. High Point, JMU. You guys gotta wait. Go get some snacks, get some water. We'll be right back with some more College COD. Welcome back, everybody, to College COD. We got game number 5 between High Point Esports and JMU Esports. I'm so excited, Cord. I mean, 2 back-to-back game 5s, but, like, let's hope it's not as anticlimactic as the end that Newberry gave us. A 6-0 sweep on Hotel was wild, to say the least, from themselves. Unexpected from myself, but we look back at the series. I mean, you definitely, High Point going into this, it was a question mark on their search and destroys. They were 0-4 in search and destroys, but now 1-4 with a convincing win on Hotel search and destroy.
Yeah, it was interesting too, because, like, I didn't count them out in the search and destroy coming into the series, but I wasn't sitting there like, yes, they're gonna take that 6-1 over the team that was undefeated in the mode. And I guess at some point, like, yes, you got to lose your search and destroy, and that's going to be a good learning opportunity for James Madison, especially on Hotel, because that's going to be a map that does pop back into the rotation at some point. But it's going to be about, what do we do at that point? Do we kind of wait for aggression? Do we, use our aggression in our favor? But I guess that's a kind of a different conversation for another time, because here on El Asilo, the conversation, it turns a completely separate way, because realistically, what was the story of the last time through? Yes, it was, everybody from from Alabama is making flanks all the way through the back lines. I was thinking of MSJ as Michigan State, right? Like, from Alabama is making flanks to the back lines. How do we shut it down? And the answer is you don't, because they took a different route every single time. You have to play so passive to make sure that nobody can flank all the way through, that you just have to know where the most likely route of a flank is going to come through. Try to send a body there, and if you can, awesome. But that also is pending that you're going to the A side on offense. If you're not going to the A side on offense, well then boom, you go over towards B. And if you don't have a sniper out, you have to be very, very confident in your AR that they're going to be able to take the gunfight up top AC, or back in towards the left alleyway, just a little bit above out of the window.
Yeah, we go, also into depth of certain players into this one. I think you can't go about this whole series without, mentioning, Kelp. He's just been hot or cold a lot throughout this series, In the hard points, you're doing your job, but, like, even still, like, that, like, I guess It's the little bit that goes a long way that he could be doing, and maybe that was the difference maker in map 4 from a map win to a map loss. But going to the search and destroy, he was 0-6 on Hotel Search and Destroy, and that is not something you can repeat. You cannot repeat that in this search and destroy for game 5. JMU, they've been here, they've done that, they've won a game 5 already. But can they do it now against the Panthers? Alasilo, we go. We hop on board with an offensive attack from JMU. It looks like we're going to B.
Shots long. T-Web going to force the player off of the head glitch for a moment. Sebi will be backed off. And this bomb has already made its way up in towards the site. Sebi doesn't spot anything out just yet. He does have the sniper, but he's not going to be able to catch the players on the cross. This bomb is going to go down for essentially free. It's going to force the retake off of High Point. So you have a couple players now making their way over through the back lines. JMU is set up all and around the B zone where it would be in control. Sebi just has a sniper to play with.
Spots out 2 players, doesn't know what to shoot at, has no idea Kelp is going to be close there. This is a very sneaky angle from Sebi, and if played right, I mean, it could definitely open up the floodgates for a defensive retake. Sexton going to be making a lot of noise, but there's the equalizer into Poker throughout the end. Sebi with the pistol finds a trade. Again, 2 versus 2, though. Slow and steady. 13 seconds left. 7.5 to get the defuse. Everybody knows that one. And in the inside, it's going to be Brewing. You got to hop this, though. Sebi, Brewing. Can they clutch up? T-Web's got to check it out, and T-Web's going to clutch up in round 1 with the 1 versus 2.
I'm surprised he doesn't shoot bodies again at the end of the round there, the 1v2, but that got a little too close for comfort if you are the side of JMU. I mean, having to sit there with a 4v3, few gunfights go the way of High Point without being traded out, but at the very end of the round, it's a very easy read that you have to make. You have to kill the first one that's trying to out-challenge you, and you know the other one's going to be on the bomb because of the time count. So, Crunch is in, but for the most part, it's a good round there out of JMU. They play it to their strengths. They get over towards B and maybe catch the defensive side off guard just a bit. This time, though, they'll be back on the defensive side for an attack. Bomb going to work its way up in towards the A building like it normally does. And you can see player number 3, be Poker, out towards the radio side, looking for an opening pick.
Still steady for Panthers, too. Nothing too over-aggressive at the bat. They're hoping for maybe a little bit of an over-aggressive chow for a first blood, but at the same time, James Madison, while this is all happening, they're happy to take full control of this map. And player number 3, Poker, now all the way up into radio. Make this even harder if you want to wrap around the outside of Hill. You have to be thinking that eventually we're going to be going towards A, and with that opening onto Kelp, this might be green lit to happen. Prey's going to be the only one on the inside.
And I'm pretty sure Kelp had spotted out Sebi as he was making his move over towards the north side of the map to get over towards B, which is why he kept the aggressive challenge in the alleyway lane. Fortunately, he doesn't win the gunfight. Back down to 0-2. Sniper going to be out. Hip fire there. T-Web backs off and is forced all the way through his spawn side in towards the A building. Devilish trying to make a late up for a challenge. With 40 seconds left on the clock. 1 versus 3.
Obi. It's the second nade kill for High Point in this round. Steady as ever and very clean. Sebi with that sniper rifle, it's not something you want to dance with at all. He was dangerous on Hotel with that, finding not 1 but 2 kills in rounds sometimes. Poker in a 1v4. How much damage can you do with 20 seconds to play? And everybody from High Point knowing exactly where to look at this point. So Poker, nothing more than that. Only 1 kill in the round. High Point even us back up.
Solid offensive rounds for both of the 2 teams so far. Again, it's just that first kill that you're able to get on Kelp there in the outer alley lane. Puts himself in a position where he's not able to really run out of the alley in towards the building to try and escape with his life. It's just the positioning on the map that you have to make a little bit better if you want to be able to play as aggressive as you were out towards B. You're your team's first line of defense. And once that falls, pretty much a GG from there on out. Bomb working its way over towards A. Out towards the outside. Kelp will finally find his first kill on a search and destroy in this series.
And Prey follows him up, too, so that's going to push High Point against the ropes in round number 3, but got Brewing and Sebi, Sniper and Tack. Sebi's got that silence. He's making the play all the way around. Here's the player on the inside. And here's your weapon, good sir. Catches it in midair. TAC 56 in Sebi's hand. You know this is going to be dangerous. Player on Kegs. Doesn't check it. Prey's going to trade it out. 1 versus 3 for Brewing. You should know exactly where he's playing off that information that Poker just got. In a matter of time before we get this, and Poker's going to be the one to deal the finishing blow.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave Poker unchecked out of the radio tower and he's able to get back across the site in towards the bottom of A building, I mean, that's pretty much your win condition right then and there, especially when you're isolating the one-on-one gunfights inside of the building. But when you just challenge him straight up and allow him to walk away with a kill, he'll take that any day of the week as well. So, back to an offense. Another round win. We've handshook rounds here so far through the first 3. Devilish 0-2 to start things off, Brewing at 4-2. But High Point back on offense again, trying to tie the S&D back at 2 apiece.
Sebi with sniper in hand. Nobody outside. They know he's there. Sexton, though. Did he hear? That stun's going to give it away. Nade cooked. What's he cooking? No kills from it. Thought that definitely would have been on his mark. But well, this all happened. Devilish falls, and so does Sebi. So this is not going to be easy to climb back from. And Kelp, I don't know how you didn't finish that one out. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite you in this round. But even still, it's a chance nonetheless for the Panthers. Until Poker.
Once again, just playing the radio tower out there. And again, it's once you get that first pick here on a CeeLo, especially when you're on defense, things really just kind of pan out in your favor. They don't really start to go back towards the other side, especially in a 4 versus 2 when Poker gets that second kill. And once you start spreading the map, you have a player out towards the radio side. You have 3 players that are swarming the middle of the building. You have information on at least one of those players. And if you spot that second one out, that round just ends right then and there. Everybody playing in a position for trades. You have the bomb down in the middle of the map. And for James Madison, happy with how those last 2 rounds have went. And you win a 3rd straight round here and force High Point to really have to start worrying in the back of their head.
You know, I'm just taking a look at the the player power rankings to see how they ranked up these teams, and this players
the
have.
Sniper is criminal. I'm sorry.
It looks goofy. Players have JMU ranked 15 in the power rankings, so let's see if JMU can really show us that they got the ice to stay inside of that top echelon for College COD. Snaking with the sniper was ridiculous, but you know what's ridiculous is this rotation from JMU into the sniper. That's snaking.
Oh, it goes for the second. Oh, if he connects with that, that's a little dirty, buddy.
That's a clip.
2 lives off the board. And now a final one alive. Poker's done a lot of great things in this series and in this search and destroy so far, but how about one that pops out through the back lines? Beautiful round there from High Point on the back end of 3.
Yeah, so High Point bring this back to a run-round deficit. Interesting round from James Madison there to kind of bundle up inside of Billiards and then opt for a late rotation back over to B, knowing that Sebi has a sniper rifle. That they were chowing that sniper rifle, so they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew what they were getting into, and they pay the price for that. And on defense, let's see if they, go back to their basics, because a lot of times on defense here, they go to the tried and true Poker heads up to radio tower, uncontested every single time.
Oh. That's got to be connecting.
Prey.
But you missed the first shot. It's unfortunate. Prey slipped through the back line.
Sebi knows this too. He gets out of green. Prey is kind of like playing with his food right now. He's making it so unsure that Sebi can do his job at the sniper rifle. And while this all happens, Kelp is here too. So much control right now, but Sebi's going to win the fight out to Poker. Kelp's going to trade it out. These players are in the back line. They know Prey's going to be here, and now Kelp as well. That's going to lead Brewing into tools. T-Web's going to be there, a freebie. Life advantage to James Madison.
This bomb is, it's in towards A. The problem is it's not actually in the building. It's up and towards the top balcony.
Yeah.
And there's no advancements or information that High Point have right now.
Or dead silence.
Yeah, that's a big one too. But Sexton is about to find his. We'll pop it. Oh, had some great timing on T-Web, but doesn't actually spot him going all the way through. Now it's T-Web who's able to get in from behind, but it's information to the side of High Point now. Prey out through the doorway. Sexton gets killed. Bomb gets dropped. Everybody falls. JMU will take another 2 lead advantage up 4-2 in the S&D.
Corn, been casting COD for a couple of years now. And plays like that are heartbreakers every single time. The timing that T-Web got there, it breaks my heart every single time for a team looking to make a comeback in that round. A second sooner, you find that kill on T-Web, you make it a 2v2, and then maybe something can happen in that round. But T-Web kind of gets away with murder in that sense, getting away in the nick of time. Now, 2-round gap again for James Madison. Back on the offense, though. Let's see if they don't shell Sebi this time.
Well, they won't. Everybody's going to go directly in towards the middle of the building. This A site is basically free. Sexton's out and towards the top. Has a great route in from behind. Will you be able to get the timing? You bust through the doorway. Poker, there. Cut down immediately. In towards the bottom. 2 players now in the site. 1 trying to make the roam around. But with 40 seconds left, the break is going to be on. Devil is still trying to find his first kill in the S&D.
You just got to play trades at this point. 1 player's in billiards. 2 players should be stacked inside of this one. I like this call. It looks like they're going to dedicate everybody to get rid of T-Web here. But T-Web still walks away with a kill. Can he find a second one? T-Web, no way. He gets all 3. Sexton, 1 versus 2. 20 seconds left, and Prey has snuck out towards Kegs. Sexton's going to look to hunt him down, but he has no idea where to look. 1 versus 1. Prey's on the outside. Sexton's got to make a play for the bomb, and Prey just has to wait his turn. James Madison, 5-2 in the search and destroy.
That's pretty right there. You let him take the one-on-one gunfight versus your teammate. Prey just sits outside. Waits for the final push. And as close as you could have been there for Sexton. Everything in that round has to go to the hands of T-Web. 3-piece inside of the bar. Found the first one pushing through mid. And then the last 2 that should have been able to find at least a trade for one of them. Doesn't find anything. It forces Sexton to have to come out through the outside from the A lane.
Could have been a 2v2. Could have been a 3v2. But what it is a missed opportunity. Now, facing, the series point, James Madison looking to put away yet another Game 5, Corn. We're headed over towards A with this bomb. For the Panthers, hope to find a kill, but they haven't just yet. Finally, Prey's going to be shut down, and that's probably the biggest kill you can get on the map.
4 versus 3. Bomb in towards A. Should be able to go down here in Will. Nobody's going to get back in towards the site. Poker out and towards his mainstay home. Out of the radio tower. Doesn't want to push anywhere through just yet. Kelp's at 50 HP, trying to get back across, and Will picks up the tack. Can now work with his teammate out and towards this left side of the map.
Ooh, Kelp. Not sure if he heard this one. Devilish, does he have his headset on? Well, maybe he doesn't have a headset on, but he's got a controller, and it's working perfectly fine. Devilish shots there to win out the rounds. Not to mention taking down T-Web halfway through just to almost put the metaphorical nail in the coffin to keep things going.
Here we go. Let's get back from the dead. The Panthers have done it before. They've clawed their way back in a series. They've clawed their way all the way through. Their opponents in a search and destroy. And with Devilish finding himself at least the first 2 kills of the search and destroy for himself. Hopefully he's starting to heat up just a bit and is feeling himself. Out towards B. Here goes the bomb. T-Web, the first one pushed up. You see Devilish all by himself here out over towards B. All you can hope for is a singular kill to go their way.
It looks like they want to dance with the devil himself, and they're going to pay the devil's price. A kill number 3 for Devilish, and a second one from Sexton. It's going to be bombed down for James Madison. Things starting to crumble. 2 versus 4, now a 1 versus 4, and Prey, they know exactly where he is. What a round from the Panthers. The Devilish, all he has to do is stay alive. Maybe find a kill, a trade at that, but he does one better. I mean, he gets out with his life, and he allows the rest of his team just that safety to rotate.
2 more rounds, you're taking it 1 at a time. Aggression starting to turn up here now for High Point. It was Sexton who opened up the round previous. That time through, it was Devilish who was able to walk away with a kill. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that 3 and 5. On 3 straight now here at Devilish. Trying to be the hero that High Point needs here in the S&D late in the game. And of course, you can't take anything away from Sexton, who's also at 10. All over towards B. Nothing here.
Nobody.
Even watching it from JMU.
Oh,
and another first blood comes through for High Point.
Oh, Kelp. Oh boy. Bomb's going to go down. Prey, are you going to make this play? He gets that silence. Maybe. Not sure if the teammates saw this door open, but Sexton's going to be big chilling around the garage for now. You have Brewing alongside him, but TUM's got that sniper round, and Prey finds some good timing. Turns the tides of battle now in favor of James Madison for this one. Sebi slowly working his way in, but Poker's going to shut down yet another kill. Sebi falls, and no matter what, James Madison, it's enough of a gap to get the job done. It was scary. It wasn't easy, but it's a dub.
And just the light shots in the background you can hear being pumped into the bodies of the Panthers. And oh boy. Dude, my mouth was agape watching that entire play unfold. One after the other, everybody from High Point just fell off a cliff. No trades, no opportunities to put yourself in a good position. And what was looking like a staunch push over towards B, a 45-second time restriction, and the first blood that all went to High Point, turned around, and James Madison come back. Not only is that a breakdown, that is a throw of a lifetime, and now knocked down a peg is once again HBU.
That could have been around 11, but let's look back at the replays for this game. I mean, start to finish, TUF has been an absolute monster. You know, we've said, you know, you be careful with the body shots, but you know, in the end, body shots were warranted. He wins it out. We heard at the end the barrage of shots from JMU, letting High Point know just how much of a win this was for James Madison to stay flawless in the division. Now 4-0, but we're not without a cost. I mean, at this series, definitely a couple flaws going to be exposed by these Panthers, and a whole bunch of what-ifs across the board. But, you know, Devilish starts off slow. You know, I think he was 0-4 majority of this map, maybe an 0-5 after this engagement where T-Web just finds 3 absolutely abysmal kills. And, I will say, you know, these next couple of kills for Devilish, the reason why High Point were able to stay alive, and if Devilish was maybe able to play the start of that game like he did the end of the game, we could be talking about a whole different outcome.
Here it is. What it came down to in this final round. Sebi wasn't able to find it with the pistol. T-Web at the beginning was able to find the equalizing trade with a sniper. And everybody collapses on towards B. 2 players that were playing off of the site that were trying to find picks back across over towards B end up getting cut down. And James Madison, we said it was a bad omen to shoot the bodies, but I promise you, they lit the hell out of the bodies there at the end of the game.
Weird.
You could hear those shots ringing from C to C. But I mean, you look up and down the board, across everybody, the slaying was literally dead perfect for either team. It just came down to who was able to play time at the end of the rounds and who was able to find just that upper hand advantage wherever they could. But each team walking away with 22 kills apiece.
That's crazy that literally across the board, almost mirror kills
25
for both sides. But I promise you, everybody, Sexton did not drop 0 damage. Definitely just a little bit
Devilish. I mean, it looked like it, but for the first few rounds anyway.
And I think if I'm really going to take a standout player throughout this who's really impressed me across the series, I know, you know, bailout would be Prey and, you know, just his nonstop submachine gun prowess throughout the map for James Madison. But I got to talk about T-Web a little bit. Consistency.
Absolutely.
Is the name of this player. I mean, he shoots bodies throughout the whole series. He didn't care. And he continues to just outslay High Point at every turn of this this best of 5. So you know, if I gotta say, if I'm impressing anybody, I think T-Web's really standing out to me for James Madison, being one of those, you know, highlight players that I'm excited to see grow throughout the rest of College COD this year.
I mean, hell, it was a close series all the way through and through. Besides maybe that search and destroy that we saw in map 2, throughout the whole series from start to finish. You know, again, you got to tip your cap to JMU for what they were able to do in that final search and destroy. Good rounds there, started stringing together, but I mean, you let yourself go down 5-2 at a certain point in the S&D. You're asking to lose at that junction, and that's exactly what happens. You can try your best at a comeback, and they almost did. They should have been able to win that last round, but should-haves don't always equal round wins. Well, JMU proved that. The sniper to be at the 3-3 in terms of the lives there at the end definitely changes up the entire kind of feel of what we're walking away from the series with. But the consensus number 19 team takes down the 24th ranked High Point University it didn't feel like it was a very difficult series to say that was going to be close all the way through and through, and it was. I don't know if we could have had a better matchup to really end things off at the end of the night here.
I couldn't agree more with you. And to end things off, I do want to show another thanks to our presenting sponsor, America's Navy. You know, America's Navy's most highly skilled technologically advanced military in the world. The Navy is the esteemed smart force that pushes the boundaries of what is possible. It's prestigious, strategic, innovative, and nurturing. They also have an esports team, too. So if you want to check out America's Navy, you know, head over there. We'd love to see the help from America's Navy to help put on College COD. But Corn, I mean, that's the night for us. 3 series up, 3 series down. Any closing remarks?
The last thing I gotta say, JMU looked pretty legit. High Point also looked really good. And again, you know, the quick turnaround from last week to this week is super, super good to see from them going forward. I don't know if this is going to be a team at this junction that is going to make a really big, strong push towards the end of the regular season. But if they're there at the end for, you know, a run of playoffs, genuinely speaking, they could be a fringy upset team that you're gonna have to look out for. High Point is definitely a good roster in terms of its totality. Its complexion is nice. Again, it's just a few more tweaks, and I think they'll really start to come into their own. It's a really good matchup, but they were really well matched up against JMU, and it really could have went either way in that search and destroy at the end there. Akron looked good. Alabama, you know, they fall in that series to Newberry, but at the end of the day, all these teams might be able to make a good push at the end of the year.
That's what we're looking for, just pushes for the end of the year, changes, improvements. It's all we ask for from some of these teams, and I can't wait to see if they make it happen. I expect, you know, the power rankings between these two, maybe High Point will fall a little bit, but, you know, neck and neck with JMU in skill level after what we just saw. But like I said, that's going to be all for Corn and I for tonight. We got more College COD tomorrow for week number 2. Shift and Visions on the mic. You don't want to miss those two. It's going to be a fun time. We'll see you there.